For the record, let me ask, with whom am I speaking?
Jim Sacco.
And Mr. Sacco, I know you're here today. We're out in Vestal, New York. We're over by the Tractor Supply Company in Vestal, New York. And can I ask, who are you with?
Americans for Restoring the Constitution.
The AFRTC.
AFRTC, that's correct.
Okay, and some people may recall I've actually covered events. You've had meetings weekly for several years now, is that right?
Monthly, but yes.
Monthly, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, we started in December 2009.
Okay.
And until we were locked down, we were doing it monthly.
Okay. And so, what brings us out here over by the road with American flags?
Well, this is to demand an immediate and full reopening of New York State. This partial stuff, this phase stuff, with all the strings attached is really nothing more than a taunt. It's totally unacceptable. And we're here to draw attention to that fact and to begin to encourage New Yorkers to stand up for their rights and to put some pressure on their so-called leaders to give us all of our liberty back, not just some of it.
Now, I know a lot of people are sometimes concerned. I know there's social distancing going on, but can you tell me, what would you say to the people who say, well, we have to be afraid? You know, you have to have masks on. COVID is out there and some of the numbers are going higher.
Well, to put it succinctly, the true pandemic isn't a virus, it's apathy in the face of tyranny. So that's what you really should be afraid of. But if you take a look at the numbers, number one, we've been lied to repeatedly. It started with just outrageous numbers about over 2 million deaths and however many ill, and the medical institutions were all going to collapse under all that weight. Come to find out, the fatality rate is 0.26%. And that's even assuming that the numbers of deaths are accurately reported, which they're not. Dr. Birx herself indicated that the COVID deaths are over-reported by a factor of 25%. Then when we factor in that overwhelmingly, we have identifiable demographics that are uniquely susceptible to the virus, those being people in nursing homes and people in assisted living. So we know who is really at risk here. So to shut down the whole state and indeed the whole country, that has nothing to do with safety. That's called tyranny, and that's un-American, that's unconstitutional, that's unnecessary, and that's unacceptable, and that's why we're here.
Have you been seeing a lot of support for what you're doing?
We've gotten a good number of friendly honks coming by, so certainly, yeah, we certainly have. And there's one right there. There's one right there. So liberty is a very contagious idea.
Definitely.
And I mean that in the best sense of the word.
Now, a lot of people might say, well, there's only a handful of people here today. What would you say to that?
Well, that's what you see here, but the bottom line is that every American loves liberty. It's not just people here. There's people all over the country. There's people working right now that want their liberty back. So we're just simply representing the multitudes, the vast multitudes of Americans that recognize this for what it is, just tyranny, just it's sadistic.
Let me ask, I see I'm the only news media covering this at this moment, and I'd like to ask, do you think they would cover you? Do you know why they aren't covering you?
Well, actually, we didn't alert any media outlets, at least any of the conventional media. They don't really have any credibility at this point, so we didn't bother.
Okay. And what would you say to those who are watching right now, who are hearing your message, seeing you here on the road as you pass by, the ones who are beeping in support and those who aren't? What would you say to them at this moment?
It's past the time where we need to rise up, and we need to put pressure on our leaders. We can't just sit back and let the chips fall where they may. Where these tyrants have been least resisted, there they have been the most brutal. If you take a look at places where pressure has been applied, people have gotten results. For example, the Bishop of Madison, Wisconsin, went to the governor. The governor made concessions. The bishops of Minnesota put pressure on the governor, he made concessions. County executives, for example, throughout the country have basically said, in my county, we're not going to enforce your completely unconstitutional edicts. They got concessions. But you can't just let the chips fall where they may. If you do that, we're going to just have more of the same, and who knows when, if ever, this is going to end. So it's time for you to do what we're doing. Get your sign, get out there, contact your representatives at the local, the state, and at the national level. Let them know, again, the true pandemic's not a virus. It's apathy in the face of tyranny, and that's what it is. We're Americans. We bow to no tyrant. We yield to no manner of despotism. It's time for us to rise up and tell everybody, listen, we are citizens, we're not subjects. Our rights come from God. Governments are here to secure those rights. Our rights are not some sort of dispensation from Governor Cuomo. Our government is supposed to secure these rights, and far from it, they've taken them away. Governor Cuomo, for all intents and purposes, is acting as a dictator. Our state legislature is on the sidelines not doing anything. It's up to we the people now. Time to stand up for our rights, time to do something.
Right. And if people want to know more about the Americans for Restoring the Constitution, how might they get in touch with you guys?
Yes, hang on. Tina, how do they get in touch with AFRTC if they want to know more about us?
They can call Ted at 760-7137 or email tinadubois64@yahoo.com. That's TINADUBOIS64@yahoo.com.
Well, I thank you guys for that. For everyone who's out there, please keep an eye out for this. You'll see them on the side of the road here on June 14th in Vestal. And the 16th, June 16th. Oh, well, this is what happens when you do it live, folks. And definitely let us hear what you think.